Next in the show we have John Key, a man that is featuring very prominently in New Zealand media. Why is he featured today? The whole DVD fiasco, which left not only myself bamboozled, but the whole country in a sponges. So, let's quickly catch up with John Key and see what he had to say about the whole issue.
National Party leader John Key relaunched his self-promoting DVD, Ambitious for New Zealand, after a run-in with the record company EMI over copyrights for the music track Clocks by Coldplay. He blamed the production company for the embarrassing DVD fiasco.
Now looking back, how do you feel about the DVD fiasco?
Look, I think the DVD is a great tool. We've had nearly 20,000 downloads on the site, the fifth most popular site on YouTube, or download on YouTube in the politics section. It's got some pretty strong messages and it's resonating really well around the country. So I think it's been a very strong message, and the issue around the music, well, legally we were probably right. I mean, our people took advice from the production company. That may legally be correct, but I set different standards for the party as a political leader and as someone who wants to be Prime Minister, and I make no apologies for when I found out about it, saying, look, it's not the standard that I was set and changing it.
Now, what was the objective in having the DVD in the first place, actually?
Yeah. Well, the objective is for a lot of people that may have never met me to have a 12-minute unfiltered conversation with me. A lot of New Zealanders see me on a 7-second soundbite on TV, or they read a little bit about a clip that I might make in the newspaper, but they don't have a chance to engage and see me in an unscripted form. So for New Zealanders that have got to meet me, well, that's a great privilege on my part to meet them and to have a chat to them. But for so many, they're at work or they're at home and they don't get an opportunity to do that.
But don't you think that the self-promotion could be construed as a sign of weakness and lacking in confidence on several fronts?
No, not in the slightest. Politics is all about getting out there and getting your message out there, and there's some very strong messages in that DVD about how we want to build a stronger economy, how we want to stop 70,000 New Zealanders a year leaving from overseas, how we want to ensure young New Zealanders can buy a home, how we're worried about crime, how we're worried about the lack of infrastructure. So you don't get anywhere in politics if you're not prepared to get out there and talk about your messages, and I think National's got a lot to be proud of. We're going into election year with a strong lead. We're going into election year with a good team of people and with the right policies, and to make a real difference to New Zealand. And I think that DVD, which is titled Ambitious, reflects what I think is the view of most New Zealanders, which is they're much more ambitious for their country than the current Labour government is performing for them, and I think they desperately want to change.
Or is it linked to the election finance bill that scraped through in Parliament yesterday?
Well, the election finance bill is a disgrace. It should not be passed. It's an attempt by the Labour government to pass self-serving legislation designed to keep Labour in office. It will exclude everyday New Zealanders from being able to participate in democracy in a form that we like. It's a deliberate attempt to make life more difficult for National and to make life easier for the Labour Party. It is biased towards incumbent MPs against those who are aspirants to get into our Parliament. So National's made it quite clear as a top priority we will scrap that legislation. We'll go back to the old system, which is one where there's bipartisan support for electoral law, and we'll come up with electoral law that the Parliament can agree on, that New Zealanders can understand, of which the Electoral Commission can properly administer.
Now, I mean, could you come out with the true cost of the DVD with the recall included?
I don't know the total cost of that. It's something the party organised.
Now, in view of some of the other positive comments and, especially involving the foreign policy matters, how confident are you to run the country?
Oh, extremely confident. Look, the National's got its clear mindset in terms of foreign policy. We'll be running an independent foreign policy made in New Zealanders by New Zealanders. We've worked very hard to have a bipartisan relationship with Labour on foreign policy, because we don't think it's in New Zealanders' best interest for that to be chopping and changing when there's a change of government. And I think you can see from our actions in a number of areas that there's been consistency with what National's proposing. I don't anticipate significant changes in foreign policy for National government gets elected. I do see National putting more support and emphasis on aid into the Pacific. I do think that we won't go out of our way to make what I think are offensive comments to the Americans, but we'll have a very independent foreign policy.
The flight of human capital, is it new phenomena to New Zealand, or it has been there for generations?
Well, there's always been some migration overseas. I mean, it's the size of migration. We're now the largest provider of human capital, if you like, people to Australia. The gap, the acceleration of people is at a very worrying rate. It's widening out. It's becoming excessive, and I don't think a country like New Zealand can sustain losing 70,000 people a year and run a first world economy. That's got to change, and it'll change when we narrow that wage gap, and national government will do that.
Next week.
One of the reasons why Dick Hubbard is no longer mayor and Bruce Huck is no longer deputy mayor is because the public didn't like the way that they'd increased rates by 30% in the 3 years that they were in office.
It gives you 100 million kilometres. That's 100 million kilometres that Aucklanders could save in travel every year if we had a new crossing. Again, it's that whole number 8 wiring approach, that mentality. It's very much about sort of picking out sort of cheap compromises. Now, here's a chance to start fixing things up. Why don't we put the world's most fantastic, most spectacular bridge? Let's build a heroic structure.
Up in the Mirror on satellite, cable and terrestrial network.
Now we've reached the end of our journey today. It's been fantastic being here again. Now for all our viewers who are very interested in the web, we have rehashed, rejigged and resprung our website. So the www.teamworkproductions.co.nz. Now with this new website we've got some new features. So if you've ever missed our show or want to see it again, which I'm sure you all do, at the bottom of the first homepage you'll see video on demand. Click it, it's free, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days in a year. That's right, anytime, anywhere, any place. So again, that website is www.teamworkproductions.co.nz. And as always, I love to hear your feedback, the good, the bad and the ugly. So email us at info@teamworkproductions.co.nz. That's info@teamworkproductions.co.nz, and don't forget about that website. Okay, my quote for the end of the day, or the end of the show should I say, is a synonym is the word that we remember when we don't know how to spell the first word that comes to thought. That's by Burt Bacharach in 1928. So with that, my friends and viewers, be safe, be well. I'm your host Javid Khan. This is Up in the Mirror. To the stars and beyond, be safe, be well, ka kite anō.